self-taught since 2017. I had no mentor, no blueprint. I've created 7 millionaires and counting since 2019. This is Infinity Loop. Let's get into it. Tell
But
me
I'm
about yourself.
assistant principal, and then I ended my career being over federal programs for the school system.
Oh,
Um,
cool.
I was considered an executive, so they say. And
Uh,
then I also am an entrepreneur. We did T-shirts and also professional development, but thanks to Trump, um,
mhm.
professional development, we had to close down the business because he
No.
pulled out so much money from the schools that they
Right.
don't have money for professional development. We had other issues too. And so after that happened, we just closed that down. And so I was like, oh my gosh. And we were making really, really good, over a million. Um,
Right.
and, I mean, during COVID, we made like 4 million. It was really
Yeah,
good.
that's crazy.
Yeah. So I knew I had to find something to, um, add some income. So I'm looking into trading. Then I found you, and then I was like, I have to learn.
How long you been looking into trading?
I guess
Was it recently? Was it when I had
yeah,
talked to you a month ago?
yeah.
This is
That's
where
when I
this is what it
started, and
is.
then of course I couldn't pass my prop firm. I just gave up on that because I
You know what's
knew.
you know what's crazy about prop firms is I never did the prop firm route because when I started in 2017, I didn't know of them, so I don't know if they
Hmm.
existed. But I don't think they existed back then.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, with prop firms, it's like my mixed feelings about the prop firms. Sorry, one
Hmm.
second, let me get my
Oh,
dogs
that's
real
okay.
quick. Izzy, I got 6 dogs. I got two German
Oh,
Shepherds,
wow.
two pits. One of them, well, I mean, well, not one of them. Four of them actually came from like a past relationship, and then it's like I
Oh,
just couldn't take them to the pound, so they just became
oh.
a part of my dog
So
family.
you
My
have 6 dogs? Oh my gosh.
sticks are crazy. They run my whole life, including I have an 8-year-old too, so
Oh, okay.
she loves it. It's funny because when she was born, she was actually allergic to dogs, but she's gone. Yeah, and crazy. But prop firms, they're always funny to deal with, like my opinion of them, because it's like at the end of the day, they give you a set of rules to learn, if that makes
Mhm,
sense. But at the same
mhm.
time, it's like you have to be able to stand in solitude as a trader. So it's not
Right.
necessarily someone else's rules because it's like people, 95% of traders, they fail. So it's
Mhm.
like they're making their money off of the failure of the trader.
Absolutely.
Uh-huh. So it's just
Every
like I
time,
see.
every time you blow an account, that's $45 more you got to pay. You know,
Yes,
I had a
yes.
coupon, luckily, but still, I was
Mm-hmm.
like, uh-uh. I
Mm-hmm.
was like,
It's
I just got to find a way to work with you.
Yeah, no worries, no
Yeah.
worries. I understand. But yeah, I mean, I started with humble beginnings. Honestly, my family, they come from a long line of educators. My grandma was a cafeteria worker, and then my
Okay.
mom, she has her master's in teaching. My sister has her master's in teaching. So
Hmm.
yeah, very familiar. I
But
went
do
to
they trade also?
they started to kind of learn how to trade for me a few years ago. One of my sisters is just regular. She liked to work her work from home job. But
Oh,
I mean, honestly, one time she got fired from her work from home job, and then I mean, I
hmm,
was there to save her. But
hmm,
her and my mom had always been, roommates. But at the
hmm.
same time, my mom, she's an undiagnosed schizophrenic, so she was kind of
Oh,
like a caretaker at the same time. So it
uh-huh.
like put a different perspective in for me when I started to trade because it's like I never thought it would come of anything. I just
Hmm.
really at the same time was, getting evicted from apartments. So I was
Oh,
trying to
okay.
kind of find a way to make ends meet because it
Right.
was like my first trade ever. You ever heard about IML?
Uh-uh. Uh-uh.
IML, it's iMarkets Live, and what they
Hmm.
do is like they trade recruit at the same time. Like they got me at first because it's like $200 a month. I think they're closed down now, but it
Okay.
wasn't good because it's like my brother-in-law, he introduced me to trading, but he was a part of iMarkets Live. We didn't really understand it was more about recruiting than trading, but that's how I
Hmm.
got into day trading. But I started investing like a year before that. So
Hmm.
it's actually kind of funny how it all worked out because it's like when people put in the perspective of learning how to trade and get rich, it's like I was learning how to trade really because I was struggling, but I never, I guess, fathomed the idea of getting rich because nobody in my family, I never had like a model of that.
Right.
But it's
Right.
like with trading is it's the similar to like day to day life at the end of the day.
Hmm.
So I feel like I
Hmm.
make it really easy because I was self taught as well. So it's like I do teach, but I was self taught because I really had no choice. But I'm
Right.
also not afraid of being wrong and failing too at the same time.
Right.
Um, so at the same, let me do this for you real quick. Let me start share my screen. I'll put it on this challenge right here, actually, so I can kind of explain everything.
Okay.
So this challenge is new.
Mhm.
It's like it's almost like stepping stones to me with everything being
Mhm.
said, because it's like my life, it works in a series of stepping stones, and it's a matter of right or wrong, yes or
Mhm.
no, red or
Mhm.
green, buy or sell. Because, but it's like the way I see it is people always have two sides to the mind. And just because of the way that I grew up, I think I just interpreted failure different than most, because it's like my first trade I ever traded was this pair called USDJPY, and it's the
Mhm.
US dollar versus Japanese yen. But I had $800, which was my half of the rent money, in the in the trading account. And at the time, I was trading with like Traders Way. That was like one of my first on trading brokers.
Mhm.
And I have a 5 lot on USDJPY on an $800 account. That's definitely over leveraging. But people got to change the way that they see over leveraging. But I didn't know that back then. That was my first day,
Mhm.
first trade ever. But I made
Mhm.
$1,200 in like 5 minutes, and that was
Wow.
all it took to have me hooked. And it like led me down a rabbit hole of continuing that same experience, because my first trade ever worked out. But at the same time, because of my background, that was the fastest I ever seen $1,200 at once. So it's like, well, in addition, I'm the oldest of three too. So, I'm the oldest sister, so I was always taking in younger sisters, and they lived with me. Right after I graduated high school, like 18, 19 years old, so I've always been in a position to take care of them. But before trading, it was a matter of me. I was a restaurant server, picking up
Mhm.
shit to make ends meet. So it's like when that was the first time that I've ever seen $1,200 in 5 minutes from my
Right.
phone. You didn't have to
Right.
tell me anything else. It didn't matter the losses to it after the fact. But it's
Mhm.
like everything that I'm doing with this challenge, this is all new, because it really just shows. I would say the transparency, because the transparency in the industry is not there. And it's like with the way
Mhm.
that I'm able to, trade accounts this season, it's almost like I'm in a smaller losing season. But I've been trading since 2017, but I was successful at it since 2019. That's when I made my first $1 million. But it was more like, you're a business owner. It's a
Right.
series of yeses and nos, of failures and then successes, but it's just a
Mhm.
matter in the charts of buys and sales. And then the way that I see it is every single time frame. Well, Forex overall is nothing more than people traveling around the world, and they
Mhm.
love to travel. So you would think that they love to trade Forex, but it's something about the numbers that throws
Mhm.
everyone off, because everything we do with trading is against human nature. So
Right.
it's like, that being said, it, it's hard for them to adapt, but but it's like I just remember being a kid, and then my mom's undiagnosed schizophrenic. So since I was 8 years old, I thought something was odd, but I wasn't able to tell, because I'm just a child at that
Right.
time. It's just like with most adults. In addition to that, it's almost like once they graduate, they stop trying to grow, they stop trying to learn, because they think I graduated school, so I'm going to stop learning. But that's why
Mhm.
self education is going to make you a fortune, because you couldn't have told me this as a young kid, that I would be here with the results that I have, with the
Mhm.
website that I have, because no one has it in the world. And it's
Right.
like, I think a lot of people, one, trading is hard, but two, they're afraid of being wrong. So that's one,
Mhm.
why people want to trade in front of others. But that's two, why people fail at trading, because they don't want to be wrong. But it's like failing at trading and going back to normal life where you were already looking for a way out of it, to me, is reverting
Mhm.
back to something that was never going to work. So that's nothing more than a long term downtrend, when I would rather a long term uptrend. And the thing that got me is I was serving tables, and I worked at Papado Seafood Kitchen. And at
Mhm.
that restaurant specifically, I was making $100,000 as a server. And,
Wow.
and I thought I had both, and that's crazy as a server. So
Right.
like 19, 20. But God be blessing. Yeah, I can say that I've always had favor, but I've always worked hard too at the same
Mhm.
time.
Mhm. Mhm.
So it's like making $100,000 a year. There, I'm thinking all the other servers is making as much money as me. But that's how I feel about trading too. I'm able to do these miraculous account flips, but that's because my confidence is there, because I know I'm doing the work, and then I'm
Right.
able to teach my students, and they have this result as well. So it's not a
Mhm.
matter of the season that I'm in this season, because it's like, diamonds form under pressure. So when I'm under pressure, and
Mhm.
I've been trading since I was 24, all I know is the process that I use in order to trade to get the results that I've gotten all these years. So
Right.
one, you just gotta be able to not be afraid of failure, and you don't look like you're afraid of failure at all. Like, you're a
Right.
hustler, you make things meet. It's like at the end of
Right.
the day, no one's getting into trading just to learn how to trade. We're doing it for a specific reason, and
Right.
mostly for our family.
Well, yeah, actually they wanted to do it this month, but we couldn't. We didn't have the
Hmm.
money, so it'll be next month.
I definitely understand. The thing about trading, but the thing about trading and the rest of the world is timing is the true blessing. So we never know exactly when something is going to happen. Like last year is when I did that big account flip that I recorded for 100 to 100K in 3 days. But then
Right.
it's like I've had account flips in between, but I never know between all the accounts that I flip. But in between and the big ones when it's going to happen. So I always try to approach every single trade as if that's going to be the moment. So it's a
Mhm.
matter of me executing at my highest. But it's like growing up, it's like how do I say? People don't believe the prophets, but to me, the only thing that matters is the result. Mom was undiagnosed schizophrenic. I remember going to school telling my teachers, "Hey, this is going on at home. Something is off, but I don't know." So then growing up, I'm showing results and stuff like that because I would have never thought this was what was going to happen either. Like you asked me
Mhm.
last year if I could do 100 to 100K, I was like, nobody can do that in 3 days. Nobody can do that. And it's something that's like a unicorn event, but I've done it so many times and I've replicated it into people. So all that tells me is I have the right process. People just don't understand yet because trading money is scary, but it's like the market is nothing more than day to day emotions, and day trading is nothing more than the rules in life because it's like you have to continue to go no matter what. Because going back to me is me being in the forest and I'm deciding, hey, you know what? I don't want to go home. Home is too far. I'm just going to sit here and stay with the bears. I'm not going to stay with the bears. So if all I got to do is learn to set the rules, then that's what I'm going to do.
Mhm.
But it's a
Mhm.
matter of repetition too, and consistency and resiliency. And those are the characteristics that people aren't getting. So
Mhm.
everyone's able to look up how to trade online, of course. Thank God to technology. They appreciate technology, but they don't understand that the progression of technology, just like we've seen it with the iPhones, just like we've seen it with anything, it's the same thing in the market of everything is an asset at a particular time. It's our job just to figure out what we're gonna, do at the end of the day. Are we a buyer or are we sellers? And honestly, it's like everything itself is about life because the market can only go up and down, buy or sell.
Right.
But even within the buy and sell, we have consolidation. And that's what I feel like these last 20 days have been for the
Mhm.
month of July. Because with July, I haven't executed as much because
Mhm.
top of the week, I had made a bias for GBP USD and then, the other currency pairs. But then
Mhm.
that bias was wrong. But with me, everything I do is transparent. So I recorded the bias on YouTube. I posted it on YouTube. I'm publicly
Mhm.
wrong, and that's fine. But what I do to diminish being wrong is I don't trade outside of my plan. So when I have a specific plan for the week, it's a matter of collateral damage. Of the only thing I risked this week was a $30 account on Monday. We went up $50. I could have took the 50, but it felt like the 50 wasn't worth it, and then we blew the $30 account. But at the same
Mhm.
time, I turned $30 accounts into $10,000. So if $30 accounts could go into 10,000, and I've shown that result, why wouldn't I have faith in this situation right here when I've been free
Right.
since 24? So I think having faith in the process is going to be what's different because anyone could look up and appreciate technology and look up how to trade and figure out what supply and demand is, but no one's teaching people how to think at the end of the day and who to be as a trader. And
Mhm.
I guess it's a blessing and a curse for me because it just depends on the situation. It's almost like how do you say, once you get to a certain level you kind of numb to it, but it's not only a numb to it because of the success that I've gotten. It's me
Mhm.
surviving every single drawdown or journey that doesn't go my way at the end of the day, and
Mhm.
continuing the path. So it's like if you continue the path, the losing season only lasts so long, and that's
Right.
way outside of just the market. It's biblical too. It's life too,
Mhm.
because I'm so real world trading, and I try to simplify things because I had to simplify it for myself. The more I
Mhm.
understand, the more I seek self, the easier it is for me to explain. So even my 8 year old, she noticed the,
Mhm.
she said, you didn't trade this week. It's not like I made an announcement that I wasn't trading this week, but she notices what my computer is
Mhm.
positioned on when I am on it all the time. But that's an
Mhm.
experience that she gets to grow up with, but that's not an experience that I
Right.
grew up with. She gets to be homeschooled. And I mean, luckily I have a strong mindset, but understand if I didn't have a strong mindset, that would have been
Right.
having reverse effects to it. But it's a matter of being aware of my thought process all the time. And I guess I got that strength from my upbringing because my mom is an undiagnosed schizophrenic. So
Mhm.
it's a scary situation. So it's like watching her thought process. I always try to be aware of mine because if something is wrong, I think that's why I
Mhm.
record so much too. Then I'll be able to catch it, or somebody be able to catch it. But it's like when, I mean, she took us away from our whole family when I was like 10 or whatever.
Mhm.
So it's like no one was there to catch it. So it's just like in certain seasons, you got to understand, like, I live in Texas, so we don't really get snow like that. We get ice, if
Right,
anything.
right, right.
We will approach and treat snow as if it's ice. And that's
Mhm,
exactly what's going on in the market. So even though I'm in a losing season and I'm able to show this, people got to understand the thought process outside of being just a regular human that wants to trade and a human that is a trader, because it really comes down to the tax bracket and it comes down to this being day to day. People work and trade all the time, but it's like people that work and trade, I do feel like, I mean, once you get to a certain level, and especially if you're teaching, you should not be working and trading, because it comes to a level of trust of I can bet on myself no matter what. But
mhm,
me bet on myself in the market is nothing more than me losing a job as a server and then going across the street and going to get another job, or the
mhm,
power going out and knowing that I'm going to have some money coming in, and then the power comes on. You have no other choice. So why do people feel like they have a choice in the market?
mhm,
Currency pairs wise, well, further than currency pairs, because what I teach is not just Forex, it's market
mhm.
structure and structure of the market, because I also trade options, I trade futures, but I teach and trade Forex and crypto futures the most.
When you
Only because,
say crypto, can you tell me what you mean by that?
yeah,
It's
it's
like,
you ever heard of like Bitcoin?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. It's nothing more than a different asset class, to be honest. It's just
Oh,
a
okay.
digital, yeah, it's like a digital currency. Yeah, we'll be doing crypto futures and Forex. But I trade all markets, so
Okay.
even after you learn and trade crypto and Forex, if you did want to get into other markets, it's just a matter of terminology being different.
You were saying that your past student, it took him about 9 months to make 1 million.
Yeah, he was out of Pennsylvania. He was studying his butt off too. But he was a trucker. He had like a small family, just one boy, I think, and then a wife. But it was actually
Mm-hmm.
funny because he didn't have originally the money in order to join the mentorship. He started out as a signal student, like you too. And then it was like what
Mm-hmm.
2023, that September. By that October,
Mm-hmm.
he had made 3,000, so he was able to join into the mentorship, because that was like the last time I was taking students for like a big group. And
Mm-hmm.
then by the next July, I mean, he had made $1 million. But at first,
Wow.
his wife was threatening to divorce him because they didn't have $3,000, but he grew
Right.
3,000 in the signals. And then he's like, she almost divorced me a few months ago, and I just like, I get it. So yeah, it was crazy how it all worked out. That's how it's like I understand what people see now, but it's just like when I've done that with people day to day
Mm-hmm.
all over the world, it's just like
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of hard to argue with the processes. So it's just I understand it's just a matter of them being fearful. Yeah, the mentorship portal, we got the course videos,
Mm-hmm.
AI journal.
Okay.
Only thing you got to work on right now is going to be the course videos. There's like 48 videos there. It's going to teach you
Mm-hmm.
everything about price action trading, and then in like our mentorships and stuff like that. And then once you
Mm-hmm.
join like on our mentorships, we'll go over like who to be and how to think and kind of how I take approaches to the market, stuff like that. But the course
Okay.
video is going to teach you everything as well. It's about 50 videos. And then the 150K challenge is where you can find the like our results for the challenge. But you're in the signals too. Oh wait, well, you haven't joined the signals yet, but you see how
Mm.
it says signals portal? You click on that. Yeah. You see that's an intro video, but scroll down. You see how it says join the loop? I have to click to get back into the signals on Telegram. And
How?
yeah, whichever is easier. Because the portal that you have for the my website,
Mm-hmm.
that's just you can click on the link anytime, but once you click it once, you'll be in there since you're a part of the mentorship and everything. But yeah, the main priority is going to be going through the course videos so that you
Okay.
can get familiar with how the market is working and what we'll be trading. In the 150K account challenge, that signals is hooked up to my main, my account that I'm trading with
Mm-hmm.
you guys for the $100 account.
Mm-hmm.
So, and whenever I enter a trade, everything's going to be market execution. So, if
What do you mean
I mean,
by
you
when you
see
say
it.
market execution? Does that mean? I just come and put it in?
Yeah. You just get in right away.
Okay.
I was a person that never really liked to use like limit orders and stuff like that, because I always felt like I had to see the way price was moving
Mm-hmm.
in like the direction it was moving, like how it approached a certain area. So I didn't. I mean, maybe back in the day I was terrible at limit orders because technically I didn't know what I was doing with the limit order. So I could try again now that I know what I'm doing. But it's just a matter of I like things a certain way. So I just market execute. So it's hooked up to my live trading account. So when I enter, it'll just send you guys a signal to enter. And then I'm more of an intraday swing trader, so it's actually better for people that's busy. So it's perfect. So we just hold trades for a longer period of time, but everything's gonna print to the calendar and to the signals. The calendar's linked up to my trading account, and then the signals is linked up to my trading account. So everything that you guys will be in, I'm also in.
Okay.
Because we're trading the same size account. So it's good that you got on while we're starting the account challenge. Because once it gets to a couple hundred, couple $1,000, honestly, I think it's going to be hard for people to join after that because then they would
Hmm.
have to start with that same amount of money. So it's
Right.
just like that's why another reason time is the greatest blessing because I never know when. Last year I was actually trading with a friend. He had control over my screen. We were on Zoom just like this,
Hmm.
and I let him have control of my account. Not control over it, but look at the account. But he could click wherever he wanted, and then he was able to look at trading view and stuff like that because we were just on the phone basically because we're friends on FaceTime. So he was with me the whole 3 days that I flipped the account. But it's crazy. The only difference is he just kind of gave up the first day. He was scared that we would blow the account in the situation, kind of like it has been the last couple weeks, and he was afraid we would blow the account. So we had got to a profit of 100, and he took his profit at 100, and
A hundred
then
thousand?
no $100 for him.
What?
He only took 100 because we didn't know it was going to 100,000. So
Oh.
he didn't have faith that we would. I didn't know we was going to 100. I didn't know it was doing that at all. That's the thing. I
Hmm.
just don't know when something's gonna happen. But I execute at my highest level. But me executing at my highest level every single account. That's why I like starting with the small accounts because it's like back in the day I had no choice but to start with small accounts. So when I was serving tables, Papado, I was making 100,000 a year at all the restaurants after Papado, when I got fired from there, I was not making that. So I had no choice but to start with what I was making. And that
Hmm.
was around 50 to $100. Hope on a good day it'd be like 100, but then I had learned how to live off half my income because I needed a way to fund trading. So it's like a different like set of I guess growth that you have to go through because it's like it's not just learning about price action and fundamentals and stuff like that. It was a matter of who am I in this world? How am I going to approach this situation? And that's all trading is. How are you going to approach this situation?
So now we trade 6 days a week, right?
It just depends on the setup.
Okay.
Yeah. So last week I only traded one day, and then I had left the account as is because I knew I was gonna load it. But I had only had like $30 in the account, and it wasn't actually on the account challenge that I traded. It was in like the actual other like actual email signal side of it. So it's like they had the $30 trade. But if they didn't take it at 50, then we blew the 30. So really we lost 80, but it wasn't even that. We were floating $50 of profit, but that's what my friend was afraid of last year. He was afraid we were going to blow the account, but it comes to a level of what is important to you. And what was important for him in that time is he felt like it wasn't worth the risk in order to hold the trade longer. Therefore, he got out of the trade, collected his $100 profit. But day one, I got to like $600 in profit. But you
Okay.
know how they say the compounded penny is worth such and such and such amount of money? That's
Hmm.
exactly what it is with trading because the way that I trade is unusual, but it's not something that I thought of by myself. It was just more of an experience level. This is what happened, and this is the result. So it started. It really started in 2021, the crazy account flips, because 2019 I made my first million, but I was really just kind of trading regular and trying to compound my bank account. But the markets were a lot more steady in 2019 than it is in this market. So this is 2026, but 2026 market is kind of like a 2022 market. And then 2022 is like a 2018 market. So it's a matter of me matching the markets. But I do feel like we're transitioning into a possible 2019 market. But I look at everything from a longer term approach. So a compounding penny
A
is
2019 market, was that good?
yeah, I made my first million in 2019. Right
Okay.
after child support court, so I was in child support court in January 2019. I had made $1 million by May 2019.
Oh
But
wow.
it was a matter of just my conviction, or I guess me being new and dumb because I was just betting big lots. But it's my consistency was I was buying the market at the same time every morning, but I didn't realize that it was what I was doing because I guess it was just a matter of beginner's luck, but it stopped being beginner's luck when I've gotten the same result I've made for myself from students. So
Hmm.
it's like if you're able to replicate it, it's something special. But it's like not everyone's in the world's going to be a billionaire. Not everyone in
Right.
the world's going to make 100 million. That's how I see it. Not everyone at the job I was working at was making 100,000 serving tables, and I'm like, yeah, guys, we got money. No, I have money. They didn't have no money back then. And I was like, and I didn't understand. I guess the why was just how I saw things. I was able to talk to people, and within talking to people, I was able to be competent and do my job. So it's like,
Mhm.
how hard is serving tables? I just got to remember the order. Let me write the order down. Then I have good conversation. It's a good experience. And it was all
Mhm.
about the experience. So
Mhm.
it's just like, I feel like everything happens for a reason. So I had got fired from that job because me and my kid's dad, we had gotten into like a fight in the middle of the dining room. And I
Oh
was back.
Lord. Oh
It was
God.
back when I was wilding back then. I don't do that anymore. I'm in the house all the time now.
Oh Lord.
But keep in mind, this is how I see it. Everything has for a reason. So I'm making 100,000 a year at this job. That was the best paying job I ever had. But every job I had was serving tables. But if I
Mhm.
stayed at that restaurant, continued to make what I was making, I probably would have never tried to venture
Right.
out because
Right.
there were a lot of servers that were older, and
Mhm.
and I just took a few private clients there like a few months ago, and they're still serving there. And it's like I understand why, but
Lord.
it's just like if I didn't get fired, then I would have still been there as well because I guarantee I was waiting on like the NFL players because we were working on Strip Club Avenue in the
Mhm.
middle of Dallas, kind of right by the stadium. So
Mhm.
so we would get all the football teams, and I'd
Mhm.
wait on the Carolina Panthers, I'd wait on the Redskins, I'd wait on
Mhm.
LeBron James family, everybody. But it's like that's what I'm saying. I just like I didn't know I was gonna live this life. It's just what happened, and I remember serving with the older servers, and they were making great money, and I was making great money, and it was a good time. But me getting fired, me going through what I went through was the blessing. So it's just like us in this losing season. It's like the power going out. Eventually, the
Mhm.
lights gonna come on. Is nothing
Right.
gonna matter no more. That's how I see everything. So
Right. Right.
it's like as long as you have resiliency and you follow the rules no matter what, it's gonna work out. This market condition is kind of, I would say, kind of complicated. It's like a
Mhm.
mixed market, but even in a mixed market, you can make money. So we're just gonna take a different approach to the account flips and stuff like that. I feel like there is a way that's normal, but the normal way doesn't produce the results that I get. And it's because the balance in my account,
Mhm.
whenever something is closing positions, it's not me physically closing the positions. The style of trading that I have is I'm really working in a deficit on the balance of the account because it's almost like anything in business. You want to invest in the asset. So buying an asset, you hopefully the asset appreciates, but I know when I was in real
Mhm.
estate, I was facing a lot of depreciation. But the thing was, I knew how to manage my losses. So it came to a point in time of I have to decide if I'm going to hold on to these rental properties or let them go because they're costing me more than I would have made on them. And really 4 years later,
Mhm.
they're still losing because I bought the neighborhood wrong. My way of my risk management in the market is I'm starting with a small account. The balance is my position, in the market, but in the world. And then I want to
Mhm.
get equity. So if I want to get equity, I have to have positions. And as the account grows, whether I'm in a buy and sell, as long as I'm following the main trend, then the equity will grow in
Mhm.
the account. But it's not just the equity, it's the positions that we have, and that's why I'm longer term trading. So I'm using balance on the account as a way to get equity. But when the positions are good, even if it takes the bad positions and closes a position, it still
Mhm.
leaves the good positions running, and that's how I'm able to get those accounts to 100,000 plus because it's like even though I'm starting with a small account, I'm holding the trade so
Mhm.
long with a good position. I grew up in Louisiana and then moved to Texas when I was like 10 years old.
Mhm.
But it's like the boats are down there in the casinos in Louisiana. So
Right.
it's like they were big gamblers, but I've never been able to win anything at a casino because to me, I can't control that, but I can control my entry into the market, and that's the
Mhm.
difference. So we're
Right.
paying attention to the higher time frames and the lower time frames. But even them, people treat them as separate, but it's just one. It's one market. If people are treating futures, crypto futures, forex, options separate, it's one market as well.
Mhm. Mhm.
We buying the market or selling the market. I have a one track mind. People they understand it. You cannot have a split brain and think you're not gonna have like a second guess. I don't have a second. I executed a lot going into June, but then
Mhm.
going into July, I slowed down the execution because my bias was wrong. So therefore, I pull myself out. I wait for that bias. I
Mhm.
wasn't expecting or anticipating it to pop up last week like it did because I wanted the market to sell from
Mhm.
this level here. or this level here, but instead it ended up finding demand. And once it found demand, I just didn't execute because my bias was giving me a reason to sell assets and buy the dollar. I saw potential in the news of them swinging the market the way that they did, and I was right. So that's why I'm just like, it's better for me to take a step back because students, they're like kids. It's like they don't know what they don't know, but somebody has to lead the way if they know. If I only
Right.
know ice, I'm not going to know how to react to snow. If I've never seen a tornado, I'm not going to know what to do in a tornado. I can
Right.
have an opinion about it, but I'm not going to know how to incorporate myself in it. So that's what I take it as. So it's just like, I wouldn't say I'm numb to it, but it's just I had to grow into the position
Mhm.
because it's like we see the results and I'm able to get the result over and over again. I think the only thing different this season is a matter of me learning how to do it and lead in front of a group of people and take them actually on this journey with me. But even on me wanting everyone to be on this journey with me, it's
Mhm.
gonna come to well, it's gonna come into effect a certain point in the challenge that some people are not going to be able to follow me along, not because they can't see the trades, but
Mhm.
because their mindset hasn't grown to the level it was supposed to grow because they get defeated. So it was like last year during that specific account challenge, there was a
Mhm.
point to where the account grew from like 15,000 to like 40,000. At
Mhm.
40,000, I put like 15 like that shit dropped from like 40,000, not drop, but in like it was like a difference in profit. Went from
Mhm.
like 40,000 to 15,000.
Mhm.
Almost margin called me, and then I shot up to 75,000 the next morning, 100,000. And that's the kind of thing that people cannot stomach, but
Right.
getting to certain numbers, you have to pass up certain numbers, and that's what they're missing. So when I start with a $30 account and I grow it to 50, I have to be able to pass up 50 in order to get to 100, 200,
Mhm.
300 because I'm
Mhm.
compounding it. And it's like my strength is the compound because it comes to a certain point of the market does all the work. I feel like I'm working hard this season because I'm losing the accounts, but it's like it's a blessing in disguise because
Mhm.
in losing, I get to set up a system like I have right now with the website. I didn't always have this site. I had
Mhm.
a different site, but then it was a matter of showing more transparency because the account flip, I've already recorded it. I've recorded multiple account flips. I withdrawn the money. What's more transparency from here? Let's take
Mhm.
the whole world with me. Let's let them watch me trade without having to pay for anything no matter what, because whether they're in the signals y'all can follow the trades,
Mhm.
not in the signals. They just fit to watch the calendar, and that's what it is at the end of the day. Because I'm still only looking at buys and sells, but I didn't execute a lot last week because I wasn't expecting it to hold this level. I saw ascending wedge here. I saw price come down. I'm expecting it to continue coming down. But we
Mhm.
traded U.S. oil, but oil to me is also like, I mean, it's an asset. It's only so much oil in the world. That's why we're always fighting over it. So it's just a matter of who are we in the world? How do you interpret the U.S. economy and the other economies? The people are so biased because they don't. I mean, they have their own personal opinions, but at the end of the day, it's a matter of is this right or is this wrong? And I
Mhm.
know I see money differently. I know $30 can go to 10,000. I've done it. I've recorded it.
Right.
I've shown people. I
Right.
do it over and over again. I know 100 can go to 100,000. I've
Right.
recorded it. I've done it. I've shown people. They do it too. So my position doesn't change. It's really like I'm the mountain, and the mountain cannot be moved. But before I became the mountain, I was a molehill. You can kick that. You can kick it on over. Like, oh,
Right.
she didn't know what she's talking about because I didn't have the results. So it came from a level of, I mean, just work and
Mhm.
focus. And it is hard, but it's just a matter of you getting used to how the market is working because it do sound like another language. And but learning another language, traveling to other countries, you're still doing the same work. You just
Right.
trying to implement it a different way. So really day to day life, people got to be able to implement it into trading, and then they got to train their emotional intelligence. And that's going to be the key to trading, the emotional intelligence part, because anybody can study the technicals and fundamentals. That's repetitive. People can study for that like they study for exams. Can they train themselves emotionally to handle it? I used to not be able to train myself emotionally, and my profits were smaller. But
Mhm.
that's going to be the key. Be able to stick through it no matter what, and
Right.
not just learning how to trade, but while you're in an account too, because once the account gets flipped, I'm in a constant scenario of executing the entire time. It's not like a thought process, but I've always
Mhm.
been a person that worked best by myself too. But it's probably just because of the way that I grew up.
Mhm.
So I mean, it all works out. I mean, I'm excited. Like I don't know. It's like I guess there's a lot of pressure trading with the world and stuff like that, but it's not something that I've never done with a group of students. I just have the whole world watching, but at the same time, they got to understand what that power is. If I've already shown this result and faith without works is dead, and I understand that people won't believe it until they see it, but we're not at a point of me making you believe something that's not shown. I already shown it so many times. I'm just doing it a different way. I actually Emergent is having a tech contest too. I wasn't, and that's why I'm saying everything happens for a reason. I wasn't always going to enter my site. I never knew that that contest was coming out, but my site was complete and done, and the tech is so advanced because no one has or wants to trade with the world and have it hooked up to their main trading account and print to the signals and print to the real world so people can watch no matter what, winning or losing. I never thought it would happen, but it took me 9-10 months to build the site, and then it's right in time of this challenge, I guess, ends July 21st. So I'm just like, oh, I just submitted, but everything was already done. So it's just an icing on the cake on, a blessing in disguise. I'm looking at all the competition. They don't have nothing like I have because it's a matter of changing the world. And everyone is looking for a reason to make more money. So trading is not going anywhere. The influencers might go time and time again, but you got to understand, who do you trust? And if I'm the one trading in front of the world, eventually the losses is not going to matter because I know what the result is. Back in the day, I didn't know I was going to get rich. I didn't know what I was going to come from it. I know what's going to happen now. I've had the result too many times. It's just a matter of timing, staying patient, and continuing to work no matter the result, because the outcome is the blessing, and the process has to be followed time and time again, especially when the process is right. I was a new trader. I used to be wrong. I understand that. Now I'm right a lot. So I'm wrong this season, but I'm right so much it's almost been 10 years. So I like to give my students like the real world effect, and I mean just how I grew up and what it looks like. I understand I'm in a losing season right now. I understand this little calendar, it don't look that great, but I'm not scared of anything, and I'm gonna stand strong because somebody gotta show people how to stand strong in these markets, because it doesn't just go away. I haven't had a losing season like this since I was a new trader. I'm not a new trader anymore. So that's why I'm excited, because nobody has this technology, and it just shows me this is what God had, and then I built it. But it was a matter of mastering my mind and being able to manage my mind. This is where it all came from, because I feel like anybody should have had this site. I would have never got tricked in IML if somebody showed me that, hey, they started with $100 account. Hey, this is what the challenge looks like. Hey, this is the calendar, but look, there's an equity curve I can look at. I can see how many times they restarted. I'm recording the good and the bad. And to me, one day when the account challenge is complete, I'm never unhooking my account from here, because it just takes me into a different aspect of I've had the Amazon stores, I've bought real estate, I've remodeled houses in 90 days out of pocket, and the closed their houses with my daughter there. I would have never imagined this life for myself, so I have no choice, even in the losing season, but to trust the process and have faith. But I can show faith, I can't teach faith. That's the issue. So I just try to tell people what I went through, because it's just at the time I thought it was bad and it was a rough upbringing, but then it's when you think about everything, I wouldn't change it for the world, because somebody in the family has to do it. I'm the oldest of 3, and my other 2 sisters are not like me. One of them, she out for rocker. The other one is normal. But it's when things happen, my family had always came to me. Now they come to me, it's a little easier on me. But I also have the right mind not to spoil them, because I don't believe in paying somebody or giving somebody more money than they've ever made themselves, because they're not going to respect the money. So it's if I give somebody, say, 25 G's, and they don't have discipline to handle 25 G's, it's going tomorrow. So it's what was the point? And I know one day you're going to, come into a point to where you lose your job. My sister did, even when living with my mom. My mom, she was a teacher too, so she making good money, pretty much a money. Not, it's not the best money, but it's good enough to pay for the apartment and stuff like that. So she lose her job, she worried. I come to their house, hey, here's a couple $1,000. Don't worry about it. Look for a job, but this should last you a few months, because you're the caretaker, but y'all in a roommate situation. So it's I understand that aspect, but it's if people don't get past the hump of how hard it is to train your mind. I can't really, I can only just keep showing people and keep explaining and tell them how I grew up and what this situation was, because it's just how would you approach a different situation time and time again. But whether people are in the market or in the day-to-day life, you still have to figure out how you're going to approach something. Now you got any questions at all?
No.
Okay, cool. So yeah, start with the course videos for me.
Okay.
It'll go through everything, and then you're in the account challenge. We're starting it this week. I just loaded the account, so yeah, we're good. So you'll get alerted and everything. No
So how
worries.
are you feeling about like that I'm like under pressure for money? Like is that like
Honestly, I think everyone's under pressure for money. I used to
yeah.
be under pressure for money too, but you got to stay. I guess stay patient with the process, but it's definitely gonna be like a learning curve. But I mean, I started under pressure with money, so I can't say that. I guess no one that is like trying to get money should trade. I can't say
Mhm.
that, but when people tell me like they're under pressure, you know me. When we first started talking, I was like, well, maybe you shouldn't join this side, but it was really up to you at the same time because you know what you have in you, you know what you're able to do and not. But it's
Mhm.
like if this is something you really want, no matter what, you're gonna have to stick to it. So I think back in the day, I was at a point of no matter what, I had no choice, so I just made it
Mhm.
work. And that's I think that's going to be the approach that you have to take to it at the same time because I don't know when something is going to happen, if that makes sense, but I
Mhm.
understand the process. And I'm just using the same process since I've made
Right.
my first million, but then
Right.
it's like every year I gain more conviction, but it's a matter of the resiliency behind it. So it's gonna take some studying. You definitely gotta go through the videos and everything because it's a learning curve. I mean, I'm 10 years in almost. So it's a lot to learn, but you got it. I started. With nothing, and I was getting evicted when I did start. So I can't say
Mhm.
don't trade it if you are under pressure because I did. But
Mhm.
you know what you have in you, and I knew that back in the day, it's a blessing in disguise. So no matter what, anything
Mhm.
that happens, it happens for a reason. You got to stay patient with the process, and that's
Right.
what I take. That's the approach I take in everything, not just the market, but in real estate and other businesses,
Mhm.
making content. YouTube is new for me. I was never really making YouTube before this year. I just found it as a better automation process to kind
Mhm.
of serve the masses rather than one-on-one contact because right here is amazing stuff and it just brings me a level of peace to be honest because
Mhm.
who doesn't want to make more money? So it's like I don't want to gatekeep, but it's like how do I manage the masses and still be me? And it's through
Right.
education, and if they from that education, if it gets them into a rabbit hole, some people like rabbit holes. I do. Some people don't. I'll never
Mhm.
understand it, but curiosity is why I'm at this level. So I just stuck with it. It starts.